Yes, sir.
All right. I bet all of us have something to say about it. Okay. Who wants to go first?
Uh, I'm
I'll
just
let Ed
gonna,
go first.
Okay.
yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I didn't get through the whole movie because it was a little frustrating towards the, the middle end section. These the characters were not engaging, at least to me,
Nope.
and there were so freaking many of them that I didn't know who I was supposed to try and follow.
Right.
So it ended up being rather boring to me compared to even other monster movies of the same era.
Mm-hmm.
And while I can understand that, actually having looked at some of the comments on archive.org and other places, it gets compared a lot to Gamera and every series that wasn't Godzilla at that time. And I can see why. The monster is not as engaging as Godzilla,
Right.
you know?
It's a children's movie.
It feels like it. Anybody?
Except,
Oh.
look, I don't get a children's movie vibe off it because even the Gamera or the Godzilla children's movies, in fact, those movies had strong characters.
Do you think there's a tone
You know?
problem to this movie? I mean,
Yeah,
somewhere
I think that is
Yeah.
exactly its problem.
it has a
Yeah.
big tone problem, and the part where he dances, that was yeah, that's the part where I mean, it threw me off. But I was like, damn, he out did Gamera and Godzilla all together.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean when I say it's a children's film because you have this child who's in the epicenter of everything Yongary. He has an itching ray,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a childlike device, imaginary device, and
Yeah.
he dances. It really didn't know what because it had a couple interesting monster walking around in the city rampage scenes, but other than that, its only real noticeable, memorable scenes are it dancing, and that's just goofy.
If you're gonna watch this movie, I take this movie as a how to make a kaiju movie, a 101. You know, kinda.
I would say how to not make a kaiju film.
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of
No, I
said
mean like in the
earlier,
beginning
a
and
tone.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just all over the place. It had a bunch of forgettable characters doing things. There's a wedding, there's shuttle launch, and there's a kid with an itching ray. It's just
Yeah.
it really just didn't know because it's a copycat of a film.
Of course.
It was just like just like Borgo, just like Paul Gassari. It's one of those other countries. It's not Japan.
I think the
going,
wife
"Well,
in the
we could
movie
do
was
that."
kind of a bitch. She was kind of a bitch. She was like really hypercritical of her scientist husband. Again, they're forgettable. At least in Godzilla
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah,
they had names. They had you could pick them apart.
Yeah, she was just the bitchy wife stereotype. She everything about it was just like the astronaut scenes felt like they were just ripped straight out of Invasion of the Astro Monster.
And there was nothing really
the
fantastic about them. There was nothing really fantastic about the space travel, which
Yeah.
could someone like elaborate me why he went to space?
um, what I gathered,
It's hard for
and
me to
as I said,
understand. Hmm.
I sort of stopped. All right, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. What I gathered was that essentially it's a spy mission. Okay.
All right.
What the version that I saw, the archive.org version that I saw, they say there was a bomb or an explosion or something in the Middle East, and the Koreans are going to see it from space.
Hmm.
Okay? So essentially, they didn't have an SR-71 Blackbird jet plane. They didn't have some other kind of spy plane. So he was doing a reconnaissance mission
Right.
for the Korean government.
Okay, that makes sense. I couldn't really get what was going on. I watched
Yeah.
the intro like 6 times before I got through the whole movie.
Yeah, I as I said, I still haven't. I'm going to try and finish it, but it's just
It's a little
it's
painful.
it's
But what helped
yeah.
me a lot to enhance my experience in the movie, I turned the movie black and white, and for some reason that really helped me to make this movie at least somewhat
It, it
enjoyable.
it feels like it belongs in black and white,
Me too. Yeah.
but
But still, and the kid who watched the English version, I watched the English version.
me,
His voice acting was very. It didn't match the kid. I know a lot of kids in these movies are really annoying, but this kid had like no energy. It just looked like it sounded like he just read the script. It's a little sad. I hope that guy had a career afterwards. I doubt it, but
well, what the voice actor or the
voice
Korean
actor.
kid? Because
the voice
okay,
actor. Yeah.
I don't know. Because the Korean kid, I have no problem with. He was doing fine as a kid in a monster movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tone problem because, and yet it definitely goes back to that post-war coping idea that I presented about Rodan.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one scene I remember is when the military guys are there in the room and saying, if we fire missiles at this thing, it's going to blow up all of these old relics in South Korea and North Korea. And they're like, well, yeah, but we have to consider Korea's future rather than Korea's past.
Mm.
And he blows up, and Yongary actually attacks several Korean landmarks in and around Seoul.
Yeah.
Which would have been automatically recognizable, not only to Koreans in South Korea at the time, but even in America, the Korean War veterans who had been near Seoul
Mm-hmm.
would recognize, oh, he's there. You know?
Okay.
And it goes back to that whole post-war coping mechanism where they're talking about where it's sort of returning to normalcy, and because they hadn't really,
Yeah.
there was this jumble of what is normal. You know? People getting married is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Spy missions, I guess, are normal, according to them.
Yeah.
Little kids being little kids is normal.
And getting involved with the monsters as usual.
Yeah.
They always find a way to do that. I don't know why the kid in Gamera did it. I can't recall anybody who was up close and personal to Godzilla in that sense.
Not until Godzilla raids again.
Yeah. Raids again?
Yeah. The two pilots.
Oh, I meant like the kids. Like the kid characters.
No, there weren't any kid characters really in the early Godzilla movies.
Yeah. That never really like, we're trying to reach out or like, make him to like what we were talking about before, Clifford, basically.
Yes.
The other thing I don't like about Yongary is just its uninspired design. You know what I mean? It's like somebody took Godzilla, took off the spikes, smoothed them down, and then, just said, like, okay, where do we go from here? And someone went, a horn. And then someone went, just one row of spikes. Like, little tiny, uninspired Tyrannosaurus spike. You know what I mean? Like, it just... like we're like some monsters that were just kind of one-offs, feel a little more inspired. Like, Gorgo stands out in a lineup. Yongary is easily the forgettable kid.
Cardboard cutout.
Kaiju party.
Like, very cardboard cutout type
just,
of... Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he shoots fire and, like, all the sets themselves or whatever, like, one of the things that was so nice about Toho's movies, especially even the Dai Gamera movies or whatever, and I hope I pronounced that right.
You did okay.
Where, they spent so much love on the modeling and stuff like that, and, the landscapes they were building, that, like, even though you knew it was a guy in a rubber suit, and sometimes you could see the strings,
yeah,
there was such a such a passion in the model building and stuff like that, you know, it really helped with the escapism when watching it. Yongary, again, like, you know, the monster walking through the city, it just looks like a guy in a rubber suit walking, and like the destruction scenes aren't great. You know what I mean? Like, really, like, it has no standout moments. I you know, a lot of these other movies, just like we were talking about Rodan last week, and, you know, we'll be talking about other solo kaiju movies in the near future. Like, Yongary just doesn't have any one scene or one theme or, you know, one anything, you know what I mean, that really makes it stand out. And, you know, that's Yongary's biggest problem. Is it's just
it really
an
doesn't
overly forgettable movie.
And I was wondering the whole time, is Yongary really that threatening to the point they really had to kill it? I mean, like, even one of the characters even mentioned, like, did we really have to do that? But I'm paraphrasing, but I am a sucker for Godzilla-esque looking creatures, even though it's blatantly a freaking ripoff.
I'm a sucker for solo kaiju films. Like, I've always loved a good disaster film, and to me, the ultimate disaster is a walking, breathing, fire-breathing hurricane, you know, mountain, you know, this horrible element that you can't kill, you know, like, and again, like, I feel like Yongary just really kind of falls flat because, like, they don't have any real, most solo kaiju movies are very serious, you know, and, you know, if they're serious as a old cheesy kaiju film can be, but, like, Yongary, is you know, just a kid's film, you know, and again, like I was saying about all, like, the design, the suit, even the script, it felt like everybody just kind of realized that, like, it's not as easy to make that type of film as they thought it was, and people just looked at it and said, it's good enough, you know, it could be better, but it's good enough. I don't feel like going any further.
I really don't think it was a kid's movie, though. It really doesn't, you know, obviously, I watched a whole bunch of kids' movies, and, you know, we all did. We grew up. We were kids. Every kids' movie I've ever watched has had a focus on a single character throughout the entire movie.
Okay, but just because it didn't have a single focus doesn't make it a kid's movie. It's just a bad movie. Like, again, it doesn't have a strong script. It doesn't have... It's definitely a kid's movie. Again, an itching Ray, a dancing monster, a kid, you know what I mean, who's one of the main characters, easily... Yeah. You know, top 2, top 3. I mean, he's probably the most memorable human character in the entire film. It's definitely, you know, a kid's movie. Like, I don't think maybe it was, again, like, I feel like it's so lost in tone. Like, someone kind of wanted to make a serious kaiju film, and then someone else said, hey, you know, Toho's going in the kids' direction. You know, the Gamera movies are going in the kids' direction. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
what year was this made? 65?
Like 67.
67. Okay, so around that time. Yeah, okay.
So
that makes sense.
So we're talking the kids' movie era of kaijus. We are definitely talking, we're talking the Son of Godzilla era. We're talking the
Gamera films.
The Gamera films going, you know,
going south.
I believe 67 is the era where he ends up spinning on the pole.
Yeah.
At one point, the Jim Cotta spin. I believe that is the movie he does that in.
I really don't find myself going to watch this movie ever again. It's not my cup of tea. I love these films, but this one is just really stale. Doesn't have flavor to it like the other ones did.
This one doesn't have anything inspiring in it to me.
Doesn't.
Dan?
Yeah, again, it's definitely... I think the best thing that ever happened to Yongary is it was featured recently in The Return of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and it was hilarious. Like, it was a great episode. It was great to see, professionals take the piss out of it, and made it a way more enjoyable watching experience than the very first time I watched it. Like, I would definitely watch it again in that format. Again, I bought the Blu-ray, but that's just because I'm a collector, and it's just, it is. I definitely have seen worse kaiju films. It's just so average and so boring, and that's worse than being
Yeah.
downright awful.
I hate
You know what
calling. I
would
hate
prefer-
calling a a kaiju movie boring because I heard people outside of the fan base call these movies boring. That's why I really don't like calling it that. But this movie is boring.
I think for some people the genre is boring because they're not engaged by the idea of giant monsters
Yeah.
destroying things. They're not engaged in the basic interest.
Yeah.
But there still has to be an acceptance that when you make a bad movie, you make a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's like, look, I'll be perfectly honest. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3
Yeah.
is a bad movie.
I think we all
Will
like
I
bad
watch it?
movies. And, like we all have a guilty pleasure of bad movies. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's also for me, there's also Star Trek and Star Trek Insurrection. Again, great series. I love it. That one is a bad
Awful.
movie. Oh, God,
That
yes.
one's an awful movie.
Yes. We could go forever on how awful that one is, right?
Yeah, we really could. We'll have to save that for another off-topic day. But yeah,
Yeah.
all of us do love bad movies, and that's because and I don't even think sometimes bad movies are good movies based on how much heart went into them. And I think that's one of the things, like I was saying earlier, like some of these old Toho movies and all the old Gamera movies, like there was just so much heart and so much passion that was put into the project, to make these little these little films into something so big and so special that so many of us hold dear to our hearts.
Mhm.
But again, you know what I mean? Like, the point of art is to make you feel, you know what I mean? And if you walk away happy because you got to see a good creature feature and you got to see two monsters beat each other up, that's great. If you walked away and you were sad, you know what I mean? That was the point of the movie,
Yeah,
then mission
movies make you feel
accomplished. But
something.
if people walk away completely and totally bored, you know what I mean? And you've mission failed. And that is exactly Yongary. Like, I would never, if I was trying to introduce people to the kaiju genre, Yongary would be nowhere near
Hell
my
no.
list of it. It's only for people. I think it's only. I wouldn't even suggest it to people who like bad movies. It's only if you are a really hardcore kaiju fan.
fan.
Like, if you are not in that category solely, then need not watch.
Even if you are a hardcore kaiju fan, it is a matter of a curiosity to see South Korea's
Yeah.
entry into the genre.
And coming into this movie, and the reason I suggested it, because I've always had a curiosity for this film, and I got to watch it, and was I thrilled? Well, it's whatever. I wasn't expecting GMK in this film,
Yeah.
I really wasn't. I wasn't expecting high art, high class. I knew I was going for like a very I hate the word knockoff, but I had to kind of say it, to this film. But it did
It
nothing.
does feel like a knockoff.
But it does nothing like what Gamera did, and Gamera managed to have a franchise. This movie did have like a reimagining, like in 2000, 1999, 2001.
2001, Yongary versus Godzilla. I have not seen it, and I intend to watch it because supposedly it is much better.
What else? Yongary versus Godzilla?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no Yongary versus Godzilla movie.
I'm a little
Okay,
confused.
then what's the 2001? Because
It's-
I saw
It was called Reptilian when it was released here, or whatever. That's how you'll find it here in America.
I'll
It's
send you.
just,
I'll send you a picture.
It doesn't. It's not the same design. It's just another movie cashing in on a name.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a good movie either. Like, neither of the two Yongar, and I definitely prefer. Even though the first Yongari design is so bland and so boring, it's still a better design. Like, Reptilian is just whatever.
Yeah, the CGI is really. The CGI is very PlayStation 1 esque.
I see what
Yeah, and they really wanted to try to incorporate American actors. So there's some American actors in it, and they're truly awful. Like, they really drag it down, straight to DVD kind of bad.
I just found out, by the way, why I thought it was a Godzilla-esque movie. Because in the West German release of the original, and then the German release of the 2001 Yongary, he's called Godzilla.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
Germany
a whole
calls him
bunch of
Godzilla.
like crazy, like German, like Eastern European and just European kaiju posters. Like if you ever like just go on Google, type in like weird kaiju posters. Like there's several Godzilla posters where you can find the word Frankenstein on the cover.
Yeah.
Gamera versus Barugon.
Mm-hmm.
In 1967 was Gamera versus Gyaos.
Really?
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we are not into the bad Gamera movies yet. We just started. And you know, that's the thing, is that these, if anything, this sort of predated that, you know, it presaged that idea of everything kind of,
Yeah, true
You know,
that.
Huh?
Pleasant,
Oh yeah, no, it was Son of Godzilla in '67 for Godzilla.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Is that, so we're looking at Son of Godzilla and looking at Gamera versus Gyaos, the first kid-friendly movies,
yeah.
and arguably the best quality of those movies.
You know, the other movies like Ghidorah versus Ghidorah the 300 Monster and Monster Zero, they were the most popular audience were children. But then we go down to Godzilla's Revenge, Son of Godzilla, Gamera vs. Gauss. They did kind of target children, literally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just like really like
Absolutely.
grasp them and try to get them involved as characters. Was it a mistake? We all make mistakes. I think any type of franchise makes mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not gonna say it's a
don't-
bad mistake. You know what I mean? You know, it's whatever.
I'm going to say
It's in the
that
past.
if anything, targeting kids. I mean, and Dan, you can disagree with me if you do. I'm going to say that targeting kids was actually probably the best thing they could have done, given that we were just going into, you know, this peacetime, you know, win the war, lose the peace sort of balance problem
Yeah.
for both Japan and America. You know, going for the kids was a great idea because the horror of the nuclear monsters just didn't ring true in the same way that
In the
it did
'60s.
in that immediate post-war era
Mm.
in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I can see that. I was actually gonna talk. Well, I wanted to talk about this in the first episode we did, because I wanted to talk about the difference between creatures in movies in the 1930s versus the ones in the 50s. Not literal versus, but I mean like the differences. You know what I mean? Like how the 30s
Yeah.
creatures were a little bit more gothic, and the 50s creatures were a little bit more nuclear war, alien-esque. Some of them were humanoid, you know, like the Gillman. But we're not gonna get into that. Maybe next time. But anyway.
Well, just to very quickly say that, I think it's a matter of what were we afraid of at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's the biggest thing, is these monster movies always will represent the fears of that generation.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if you guys wanted to give a rating of 1 to 10 to Yongary, what would it be?
3.
I'm gonna have to give
3.
it
I mean,
2.
honestly, it's just so bland. I mean, like, you know, I don't want to give it a nothing, but you know, because they actually made it a kaiju film, but like at the same time, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a 2 or 3 to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm very generous when it comes to these films, but I'm not being harsh about this one, but it's true. It's not great. It's not going to do nothing for you, and it really does nothing to a franchise other than being a familiar, you know, movie.
Yeah.
All right. So, onward to death battles, I guess.
Sounds good.
All right, so I got a shitload of kaiju in my freaking downloaded as pictures, and I'm gonna have that as shuffle. Have you guys ever seen the Mothra trilogy?
You know what? I've seen the first one. I gotta watch the other two. I own them, just haven't gotten around to watching them yet.
The second one sucks, just to let you know, but the third one is really good.
It seems like a lot of these trilogies, the second one really kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Even with, let's say, the early Godzilla movies, while Raids Again is probably one of the better Godzilla movies, it wasn't a great sequel in the same way. At least not to me. You know?
Yeah.
And ignoring King Kong versus Godzilla because he's an American monster and so on, I would definitely say that Mothra versus Godzilla is superior.
Oh yeah, definitely. I always pictured Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and Monster Zero as being a trilogy of its own, while still being in the same timeline. Yeah. Okay, so the first contender is Gauss. Alright, so the second one is Gauss will be going up against King Caesar. Oh, okay. We could talk about this. We could definitely talk about this.
I'm gonna go right out and say Heisei era Gauss. Yeah, I'm gonna root for him.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, King Caesar was having a hard time with Mechagodzilla, even with Godzilla in the fight. I'm gonna say Gauss or whatever just, you know, can fly around and fire a laser beam that cuts cars in half, cuts buildings in half. Like, it's like with like razor sharp precision. I'm gonna say, yeah, Gauss wins that by easy.
And definitely for the Heisei era Gauss.
Yeah.
There's multiple of them. They can form sort of like hydras. They breed like rabbits.
Yeah.
King Caesar is, you know, great guy, great character.
I agree.
Not a great fighter.
No.
And
in the trailer, and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, he does a flying kick, but we never see it in the movie. But that's not gonna save him from this fight.
No, not at all.
Yeah, King Caesar is a creature I'd love to see get a revamp and
oh, definitely.
You know, get a second chance somewhere, you know, down the line. But you know, the only two movies he's ever been in, again, he loses and, you know, in a 3v1 fight in Final Wars. You know what I mean? So it's like he's just not a great fighter. I think King Caesar could beat Yongary, you know, but probably
yeah, that's true.
Definitely
even
not a mod, not Gamera, not because Gauss is easily Gamera's Joker. You know, like that's the monster he has fought the most. You know, Gauss even showed up in Gamera the Invincible. You know, the last.
That's the one that's talking about.
Or wait. Well, yeah, that was still a Millennium era film, though. Or wait, well, the Gamera Guardian of the Universe is the Heisei era one.
Yeah.
And then, like, those Gamera the Brain. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of
No,
Gamera
you're good.
You're good.
I know what you were talking about. I knew what you were talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. But, you know, Gauss is like, Gauss is the only, you know, Gamera villain to show up in every single era.
But when King Caesar's reflective ability towards projectiles work against Gauss?
Against the laser, maybe? But we're talking Heisei era Gauss.
Yeah.
So we're talking the one with the sharp teeth. We're talking a Gauss that has both Showa era Gauss's abilities and, in a sense, Showa era Rodan's abilities.
Yeah.
You know? We're talking a kaiju that, you have a reflective surface?
Yeah. First
I'll bite you, then I'll laser you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So basically,
Gauss is a very vicious meat eater. I mean, You know, like when they say they talk about Gauss and just the idea that they breed so fast, you know what I mean, that they would wipe out the human population. You know, there's a good chance that even if, because like Gauss is a relatively fragile monster. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
Like it doesn't take a lot to kill a Gauss. You know, and you know, King Caesar does have his, you know, eye beams, but like that's, you know, the best. You know, I just think Gauss could, you know, has the speed, has the range.
So basically,
You know,
this fight is going to end up how a hawk catches his prey. Maybe. Hey, get off, get off. Hey, sorry. Anyways,
That would be
okay, so I think up next will be 2 versus 2, and I will edit out any awkward silences, of course. Just to let you guys know. All right, so Team 1 consists of Mechagodzilla, Heisei. Oh shit, I already know whoever's Team 2 is gonna lose. I already know that. Okay. Alright. And he's partnered with... Oh, Jesus. Iris. Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
Iris, as in
From
Gamma Iris.
Gamma. Yeah.
from Gamma.
As in the one I was just talking about. That thing.
That's gonna be interesting, to say the least.
Okay,
Alright,
they're kind of okay. That thing. That thing is.
All right, well, who are they fighting?
Alright, so we're gonna get to who's from Team 1. Okay, Showa era Ghidorah.
Okay.
Okay, let me wait for a couple seconds. And Ghidorah be teamed up with Jet Jaguar. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was rooting for King, you know, because that, you know, King Ghidorah Showa era is the World Destroyer.
Yeah, the Frieza.
You know, it is a great monster. Which era Mechagodzilla was it again?
Heisei. So you know he's gonna be spamming his beams.
Oh. That is the only one to successfully beat Godzilla. So
Yeah.
that is technically the strongest Mechagodzilla. You know what? I'm gonna have to say Mechagodzilla and Iris.
I don't think...
you know, because like, I'm sorry, Jet Jaguar's poop. Jet Jaguar is, you know, he's definitely a weak robot. Like, he's no Jaeger.
He has no beams. He has no missiles. What was the point of making a robot without any weapons? Anyway, Iris isn't a great-ass fighter, although I like the scene when he slaps Gamera's fireballs aside. That's the best part in the movie, in my opinion. But other than that, I don't see him...
Okay.
If they got rid of Iris...
The only advantage that either Mechagodzilla or Jaguar would have, because I'll be perfectly honest, I would say Iris is just gonna wreck everybody, because unless somebody is controlling him, you know, he's dead. Everyone is dead meat.
What if Mickey
The only
Sagusa was controlling him? I'm just kidding.
Hmm?
What if Mickey Sagusa was controlling him? I'm playing around. Never mind.
Oh God. But the problem is Iris. Okay, Jet Jaguar and Mechagodzilla, if they were fighting him, I would say they might win, because Iris's ability.
Are you still there?
I think we lost him.
Again? Alright, I'll edit that part out.
We lost me earlier.
We did? Oh, shit. Let's hope he comes back. Wouldn't you think if they got rid of Iris, if they're smart enough to get rid of Iris first, wouldn't Jet Jaguar and Ghidorah have a chance?
I think King Ghidorah could technically win the fight himself, you know what I mean? But, like, Iris is definitely a tricky opponent. Like, because King Ghidorah is just going to spam those anti-gravity beams, and, you know, or gravity beams. I don't, you know what I mean?
You're okay.
You know, he's just going to spam the hell out of those or whatever, and, like, you know, like, he's also a bastard who likes to fly around, and, you know, he can go to toe, or he's held his own in several different gang up situations. So I think King Ghidorah could technically win that one. Jet Jaguar's just like, if it hadn't been Jet Jaguar there, because if Iris and Mechagodzilla just take him out,
it's over.
He can't take either one of them in a one-on-one fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. And I don't think he's an effective enough support.
Well, what I find interesting about that fight is that you've got one biological and one mechanical on each side.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
And especially when you're talking Iris, okay, Iris versus Jet Jaguar, I'm actually going to say that it depends on the pre-existing conditions.
Ah.
Because if Jet Jaguar can get Iris when it's still a baby...
Oh.
Well, no, obviously, this is just going to be...
Knock them, sock them.
Forms, just drug, because technically, if Mechagodzilla gets to fucking Jet Jaguar while he's still in, being built by his scientist, you know what I mean, or gets him before he learns how to grow, you know what I mean, so the fight goes, they're all 4 at their max height, or equal height going at it, and I just don't think he has no beam weapons. Even Iris just has tentacles that have great range. And Iris, was coming very, very close to killing Gamera, which could easily take Jet Jaguar. I just don't... I think Jet Jaguar is such a handicap that it just...
Part of the problem with Iris versus Gamera was that Iris was absorbing energy from Gamera and from Ayana.
We lost him again, did we? Are you still there?
You there?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Alright. What I was saying is that the problem with Gamera 3 is that Iris was absorbing energy from Gamera and from Ayane's life force. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Every wound that Gamera was dealing was not going to Iris, it was going to Ayane. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't have someone to offload his wounds to, I think Jet Jaguar might have the single advantage of not being biological.
That's true. I could see that.
But in the end, I do think that it would end up being worse to stalemate, and at best, Iris stomps him.
I would give this round to Iris and Mechagodzilla because I really don't see Ghidorah surviving Mechagodzilla's onslaught, especially this version of Mechagodzilla. Alright, so... Do we have time for another round?
Yeah, I got time for one more.
Okay, alright. Let's do another 2-on-2. I don't know why, but I always think those are kind of more interesting.
Oh, yeah, because it's nice mix and match.
Yeah. First one's Batra.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with Batra. Okay, he'll be teamed up with Orga. Ooh, shit. Okay. Orga and Batra.
Okay.
Versus... God damn it. King Kong. What is up with the second team being King Kong as in Toho?
Okay.
Alright, who's gonna be in... King Kong's gonna be paired up with Heisei Mothra. Yeah, this one's a thinker.
Wow, that's I'm sorry. Let's do a reroll because that was just a stomp fight.
Really? Okay,
that's not even like. I'm sorry, like it's not even like.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
No,
obvious.
I agree.
Orga wins. Done.
All right, so let me do this again. Go back to where I was. Yeah, that was pretty one-sided. That's kind of sad.
Unless Heisei, Mothra, and Batra, team up against Orga, because they've been known to do that.
Yeah, for some reason.
Carry Orga off into the ocean. So unless Batra pulls a Benedict Arnold on him, I don't think that's not an option because we're just. But yeah, that's a pretty lopsided fight.
Could you imagine Orga absorbing Kong and having like really big, fists that are ape-like, but also kind of alien-like?
He wouldn't. It would be awful, but it would be.
You know what? Like, we're just going to keep entertaining the idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pretend like Batra's having a hard time with Kong, Toho Kong, because he's got some electricity in him, and so they're having a little bit of a skirmish. Orga starts to eat and morph into Mothra, you know what I mean? And because technically, if he can get a hold of your DNA, Orga can technically turn into anybody.
He's kind of the rogue
even
of
though
the
we don't get to
series.
see the final version of it, you know what I mean? And neither one of those monsters has the beam power to kill Orga from the inside. So, like Godzilla 1000, it was able to do. So, like, again, Orga just wins the fight by himself. Like,
all right,
Batra could go sit it out.
So, okay, all right, for Team 1,
if anything,
it's the female Muto. Okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
And she's gonna be teamed up with, oh boy, oh shit, Legion. Okay, Legion and female Muto.
Okay.
All right, that's a little exciting. All right, versus, oh Jesus Christ.
Please don't be Gamera from Godzilla's Revenge.
Ooh. It's all right. Team 2 consists of Heisei Ghidorah and Monster X. Oh shit. Okay, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I'm excited for this
Legion
one.
Versus, we're Heisei King Ghidorah, because I think he was definitely one of the strongest Ghidorah incarnations, and then Monster X should just turn into Kaiser Ghidorah if need be.
Yeah.
So I think that one wins it, even though Legion and the Muto are two formidable
females.
Yeah, two formidable fighting bugs.
I would say based on Gamera and based on the Muto, honestly, I have to give it to the Ghidorahs, like you said. Because, here's the problem. I think Legion is out fairly quickly, unless it is actually Legion. Unless it's the full Legion of them, the full.
Oh, like a bunch of them.
Yeah, if it's the full symbiotic Legion thing, the whole group of them.
Yeah.
Then they could win. But if it's just the Queen alone,
I don't think even if it was the full Legion, King Ghidorah just flies around in the air and doesn't decide not to come down and fight fisticuffs. You know what I mean?
Well, the Queen Legion could go up and fight him.
If I had to
no, the problem is that I'm going to say, assuming that Gamera and Godzilla are comparable here in terms of toughness. Okay? Ghidorah would be able to crush any of the Legion's exoskeletons, releasing the gas, which then completely defeats the Legion, whether it's alive or not. But the whatchamacallit,
Muto?
No, but I'm saying with Legion, what happens is that the hydraulic pressure inside it, because it doesn't use muscles, it only has this superheat gas
and the silicone,
which it used first as it first used the superheated gas as a defense mechanism, and then Gamera used it against it by draining it. And I think Ghidorah would do that very quickly.
Also, Legion has really bad aim with her beam.
Yes.
It's crazy looking, but it does nothing. I mean, like, it hurt Gamera, like, a little. It chipped off, like, a piece of his shell, but that's it. I can't say much about Monster X. He had, like, not that much screen time. The things he did were fantastic. I could see him going up against Muto in terms of, up-close combat. But his gravity bolts are going to do some shit to her, because these bolts really hurted the Final Wars Godzilla, who we never really see him go in pain in that film.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just think that, even though I think the female Muto is obviously a very good brawler, like a melee only kaiju or whatever, she just wouldn't be able, because Kaiser Ghidorah was just huge. And again, does Monster X have the stipulation that it can transform into Kaiser Ghidorah?
No, he could.
Or yeah, because if especially if he just turns into Kaiser Ghidorah, you know what I mean?
Then he can handle this on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the female Muta, I just don't think, because it not having any beam weapons of its own, loses to two King Ghidorahs, or Kaiser Ghidorah and King Ghidorah. I just think that's yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And those gravity beams alone would just, all he has to do is pull the same trick that 2014 Godzilla did.
Didn't some of Legion's tendrils broke after being hit by a missile?
Yes, they were that. That's the thing. They were fairly. None of Gamera's enemies have been
extremely durable.
I was going to say invulnerable.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing that the Godzilla series does that a lot of the other series have a tendency not to be as rigid about. A lot of the Godzilla monsters are mostly invulnerable. And especially in the Showa era, the monster usually always escapes. In the end, Godzilla chases the other monster off, whereas Gamera actually outright kills. I happened to catch the very end of Gamera versus Gauss the other night on Pluto TV, and the scene where Gamera literally just bites down on Gauss's throat and drags it into a volcano. And I remember going oh goddamn, this is this is a kids movie, but it's Japan, so
fatality.
Yeah, they're not afraid to throw a fatality in there. And that's one of the nice things about the Gamera series is Gamera's battle damage. The Godzilla monsters, they get hit with beams all the time, and usually just a lot of explosions and maybe some smoke. But Gamera actually bleeds. One of the most awesome scenes, in my personal opinion, in any kaiju movie is Gamera blowing off his own arm with his. That's just. I remember the first time seeing that, and just exclaiming out loud, standing out, "Oh my god!" Marking out. Definitely one of the most memorable kaiju moments ever.
Yeah, that was a really ballsy move of him doing that. So Legion, I like her a lot, but she's sort of a glass cannon, despite the fact she stood her ground when the mana beam was hitting her. For a couple seconds.
Yeah, Legion, I don't think is good. I mean, the movie itself is super good, but Legion was a way bigger threat to mankind than Legion was to Gamera. And because Gamera is the manifestation of Earth's spirit, you know what I mean, like self defense mechanism in the Heisei era movies or whatever. That that's really the only real reason Gamera fought it. Was to protect Earth. And I just think that although two very cool and very strong monsters for what they are, whatever, going up against the all-time greatest kaiju enemy, King Ghidorah, and then King Ghidorah's steroid on crack version, of Kaiser Ghidorah, where it has 4 legs, is although both versions have been beheaded, so
you're gonna Ghidorah in the third Mothra movie. Because that's really considered as one of the strongest. You gotta have to catch up on that one. I recommend it. I mean, it's still kind of kiddie, that movie. It still is. But when I watched the third movie of Mothra, I still get chills in that film. Same thing with Gamera versus Iris. Or Iris, I forgot the title.
If we want to make that the next week's or next session's homework assignment, I'm down for that.
Yes.
Like I said, I own it.
Yes, we could do that. Yeah, I'm actually down for that one.
Trilogy, that works.
So we're only gonna do the third movie.
Third Mothra Heisei era.
Yeah.
Let's only do one, because I don't know if I could squeeze all 3 in 1 week.
Then I think how about we watch then how about we go 1, 2, 3 then.
Okay.
for the next 3 episodes. What do you think?
Okay. I like that idea.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's fine.
That way there's a build up.
All right.
All right. So I guess it's closing time. We had fun, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think this was better than last week's, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think it was a good session. I think we needed a little bit more of an intro.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because we just jumped straight in
We
this
did.
time. But,
We
yeah,
did.
Yeah.
like it was literally on the phone. So, guys, what'd you think of
What you
Yongary?
think?
Whoa! Like, no hellos, no introductions, no welcome to the Oxygen Destroyers.
Yeah.
Second podcast.
That is true.
We don't
We need
got
a
like
little
a
bit
golden
of,
voice here. We're just sort of like jump into the pool and have fun.
Oh, we are so amateur, and that's what's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best
Exactly.
part.
Maybe one of these
Yeah.
days we'll, do something like that, but we'll
We'll
see.
learn as we go.
Yeah. All right. This was really fun.
Yeah.
I hope you two have a great day. And also, we'll get to
Yep.
more about this. All right. This is Crispiano signing off.
This is Danarchy signing off.
This is Edward signing off.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Peace.